The 2026 FIFA World Cup is fast approaching, and it's quite literally bigger than ever. This edition sees 48 participating teams, and the tournament is spread across 3 countries, and there are plenty of stories to ponder during the build-up of the beautiful game's most coveted competition. Some good, a lot bad. From the final chapter of 2 of football's all-time greats, to concerns over the World Cup's organisation, these are my 5 biggest stories heading into the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The biggest World Cup ever. For almost 30 years, the World Cup has featured 32 teams. For this tournament, we're at 48, meaning what used to be the round of 16 after the group stages will now be a round of 32, and some third-place sides in the initial group rounds will get the chance to progress. Some people like that expansion, others don't. I'm in the camp of the former, but I might be in the minority here. A 48-team World Cup sees a more even representation of the continents, and that is especially notable with Africa and Asia. I'm interested to see Uzbekistan, who has knocked on the door of the World Cup many times in the past, but have had a knack of faltering late in the Asian qualifiers or losing in the playoffs to miss out on qualifying. Now they get their chance to play on the big stage. Likewise with Jordan, who will also make their debut. Less fancied countries from Africa such as Cape Verde and the Democratic Republic of Congo, who both rely heavily on their diaspora population in Europe, will also get their chance to ruffle the feathers of the establishment. Like Uzbekistan, DR Congo is another country who has been very unlucky in not qualifying for a World Cup in recent editions. They will now make their first appearance as DR Congo, having last played in a World Cup as Zaire over 50 years ago. And that's not even mentioning the tiny island of Curacao from CONCACAF, or as Canadian hockey legend Wayne Gretzky calls them,
Caraco.
What did Curacao do in a previous life to anger the footballing gods so much they got given that group? Absolutely brutal.
I'm in danger!
There is potential for upsets and new Roger Miller-style Cinderella stories. Or we will all end up feeling that the tournament's group stage has been too diluted. Maybe there's a sweet spot in between. FIFA is betting that bigger means better. We'll find out by the round of 32. Regardless, we should be grateful that this format has at least allowed Bosnia and Herzegovina to reach their second World Cup, bringing this song to the world's consciousness.
I'm from Bosnia, take me to America.
Messi and Ronaldo's last dance. It feels impossible to imagine international football without Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, but this is likely the last time we will see them competing at a World Cup. Maybe it should be the last time. I don't need to bang on about how good these two are. Anyone who's found this video will already know that, as well as their various accolades. Ronaldo's been a fixture of Portugal's national team since August 2003. We're approaching 23 years of Ronaldo banging in goals for his country. 23! To put that into context, Ronaldo's teammate in this tournament, failed Chelsea signing Renato Veiga, was born less than a month before Ronaldo's debut for Portugal. Messi is in a similar boat, with 4 players in Argentina's preliminary World Cup squad all younger than his international career. Messi, of course, won the 2022 edition in Qatar, in that all-time great final against France, finally breaking his World Cup hoodoo. The Argentine lifted continental silverware for his country before he eventually won the world's greatest prize. Ronaldo's already helped his country to a Euros, but can he go all the way like Messi did? Whether Ronaldo or Messi win the 2026 tournament or not, this could be the final World Cup appearance for 2 players who absolutely defined an entire generation of football, and everyone will be watching to see if they go out on top. Big organisational question marks. Now this is a football channel, and a new one at that, so I don't want to get all political and alienate some people, but what the fuck? Right, apologies in advance if I get any name pronunciations wrong from now on. Again, my sincere apologies. From Iraqi striker Ayman Hussein being questioned for 7 hours at Chicago's O'Hare Airport, to ICE's reported presence at stadiums before and after matches, to Scotland fans getting their ESTAs changed from approved to travel not authorised at the last minute, to the delay of Iran's players getting their US visas, to the Somali referee Omar Atan being barred entry from the USA. There have been numerous politics-adjacent issues in the lead-up to the 2026 World Cup. There are still developing stories now, even a few days before it begins. It's worth noting that Iran have based themselves in Mexico for the tournament despite having all 3 of their group games taking place in the USA. And no, I will not mention the FIFA Peace Prize. And it's not just America who are having organisational issues. Japan had to move their pre-World Cup training base from Tigres' facilities in Monterrey to their cross-city rivals Rayados de Monterrey, again apologies for the poor pronunciation, due to the poor state of their pitch. Moving away from the host countries, it's worth noting that FIFA have had a huge hand in the ongoing organisational farce that football fans are having to endure. The ticket prices for this tournament are astronomical. Ahead of the 2018 World Cup in Russia, FIFA revealed their fixed ticket prices in a press conference well in advance. And while pricey to the average Joe, the cost of these tickets at least made some semblance of sense. According to The Athletic, the 2026 World Cup's tickets in every category for every match were more than twice as expensive as the equivalent tickets for the 2022 event in Qatar. A Category 1 ticket to this year's World Cup final will set you back almost $11,000, up from the already hefty price tag of almost $7,000 back in October. FIFA is not outsourcing ticket sales or even the resale market, and it is all controlled by the non-profit organisation in-house. And these price increases are largely thanks to the introduction of FIFA's variable pricing model, which sees prices rise in relation to the interest surrounding particular tickets. They say it's to prevent touts from snapping up tickets and overcharging fans, but it feels like nothing more than a big old money grab. On top of that, we're seeing host city hoteliers jack up prices for guests, and we're also seeing certain local authorities increase the price of public transport. Lads, you didn't have to bid to be a host city. If you can't afford to do it without making the fans pay for it, then don't be a host city. Thankfully, there are some host cities that seem to be taking a more fan-first approach, like in Seattle. So let's not all tar all of the USA under the same brush. But this FIFA price gouging is a problem that must never be accepted by fans for the sake of future World Cups. This is coming from an English person here, someone from a supposedly well-off country. Imagine if you're a fan from Bosnia who couldn't make it to Brazil in 2014 and wanted to go to the USA to watch their country compete in the World Cup. Let the excellent Jonathan Wilson sum it up for me during his guest appearance on The Overlap.
So Bosnia, it's their second World Cup. Their first game's against Canada. Had a look at that last week. The price for that is $2,250. Now, the average monthly wage in Bosnia is $800. So you're saying to the average Bosnian, if you want to go to this game, only your 4th ever game at the World Cup, even before you pay the flights, the hotels and everything, it's going to cost you 3 months' wages.
Need I say any more? I probably could say a lot more, as there are new stories emerging every day. But for the sake of brevity, I'll leave it there. The new football world order. With the potential passing of the torch from Messi and Ronaldo, we have new talents looking to make their mark on the world, and rising nations in the global football scene too, as international football's hierarchy starts to crack. We have emerging continental powers, whose players are playing in the top European leagues and are as talented as their teammates from the traditionally bigger footballing nations, and sometimes they're even better than them. These countries include, but are not limited to, Japan, Morocco, Norway, Turkey, Ecuador, and Canada.
I have a pen, I have an apple, apple pen.
Simply put, Japan are very, very capable. It's helped by the fact that their players play in the top leagues in Europe, and their domestic top tier, the J-League, is on a continual rise in Asia. Their cohesiveness seems unmatched when it comes to international football, proven in their ease in beating England back in March. They've also defeated Brazil within the past year. It's just a shame we won't be seeing Kaoru Mitoma at this World Cup, who misses out with injury, but that might clear the path for Kubo to shine. Without mentioning the farcical side of this year's AFCON, Morocco have moved well beyond their past of having classy players like Hakim Ziyech and Adel Taarabt, who always seem to flatter to deceive on the international stage. Now they have a real team ethic to them. While they lean heavily on their diaspora across Europe, the African champions all seem united in bringing success to Morocco. Achraf Hakimi and Brahim Diaz will undoubtedly have a big influence this summer, but let's hope Diaz won't be on penalty duty for this tournament. A special mention should go to Senegal, who have appealed CAF's decision to hand the 2026 AFCON final win to Morocco, and that is pending a resolution from CAS. They too have a very talented team, and it's certain that Morocco and Senegal are Africa's two preeminent powers.
And before that wolf eats my grandma, give that wolf a banana, give that wolf.
Norway are back in the big time 28 years later, and they're far from a one-robot team. Erling Haaland may grab the headlines with his goals, but they also have two more than capable backup strikers in Alexander Sørloth and Jørgen Strand Larsen. Martin Odegaard captains his country just as he does for Premier League champions Arsenal, and his experience as a former young talent making it in the big time will be very important to his youthful teammates Antonio Nusa and Oscar Bob, who will both be hoping to make a big impact this summer. They're physical and they have technical ability. Norway have turned a corner big time in recent years under Solbakken. Just ask Italy.
Don't play with a girl's heart, she has only one. Play with her boobs, she has two.
Turkey have reached the World Cup finals for the first time since they finished third in the 2002 tournament. During that 24-year wait, they have had nothing but disappointment, from World Cup qualifying failure to falling flat in their various Euros appearances. When Turkey do reach a tournament, it's almost become a cliche that they get considered as dark horses here in the UK media. However, Turkey now has a team with the technical capabilities to rock the boat. Hakan Çalhanoğlu remains a classy operator and provides much needed experience in Turkey's midfield, while talented forwards Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz will have the weight of the country on their shoulders as their main creative threats. A shout out should also go to Brighton's Ferdi Kadioglu, who is also a good creative outlet at left back. There isn't a ton to say about Ecuador other than the fact that they're just a very, very solid team. They finished second in the South American qualification stage, only behind Argentina, conceding just 5 goals. That's 5 goals conceded in 18 games in a qualification process that includes Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Uruguay. You get my point. The Ecuadorians even finished their qualifying campaign with a 1-0 win over Argentina, the reigning World Cup champions. That defensive solidity has helped with some classy operators in that field, such as Moises Caicedo of Chelsea, Piero Hincapié of Arsenal, William Pacho of PSG. And while the goals aren't free-flowing in this team, their defence more than makes up for that. And yes, we will be seeing captain Enner Valencia once again at this World Cup. Of the host nations, I will focus on the lesser fancied Canada, but much of what I will say also applies to the USA and Mexico. Home advantage does count for a lot in this tournament. In the entire history of the World Cup, the host nation has not made it out of the group stage only twice: South Africa in 2010 and Qatar, who stunk out the place last time round. In fact, of the 23 hosts, 6 have won the World Cup, and at least 13 reached the Final Four, 57% of all World Cup hosts finishing in the top 4 at least. Now, I am not saying Canada will be able to replicate that feat of reaching the semi-finals or even winning it, but they are fast emerging as a respectable footballing nation. Spearheaded by the management of John Herdman and the talents of Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David, Canada finished top of their 2022 World Cup qualifying campaign ahead of the USA and Mexico to reach Qatar and end their 36-year World Cup hiatus. While Canada didn't fare well in the finals in a tough group consisting of Belgium, Croatia, and eventual semi-finalist Morocco, since Qatar, it feels like Canada have progressed to become an established regional power in CONCACAF under Jesse Marsch, and are more than capable of progressing out of one of the weaker 2026 World Cup groups and reach the knockout rounds. This was proven by their 2024 Copa America appearance, where they reached the semi-finals among South American giants. Do you agree with my list of emerging powers? Am I missing any players? Let me know in the comments. Can England win the damn thing 60 years later? It's a tale as old as time, or 60 years in this case. Can England finally win the World Cup for a second time? If you ask me, an England fan, and many of my sensible compatriots, you're more than likely to hear a firm no in response. To me, it doesn't feel like this is the tournament for England. From the draining weather to the fact that we have a lot of players who have played a lot of football over the last calendar year, playing in this expanded tournament leads me to believe that we won't be seeing England at its best, rather the slow and plodding version that we're used to seeing in major tournaments. But you never know. Manager Thomas Tuchel has opted for a more cohesive, team-oriented squad from the outside looking in. Maybe that's the solution to our woes, rather than relying on shoehorning our various number 10s into the starting 11 in the vain hope that they can relieve Harry Kane of some goal-scoring pressure. England will of course rely on the likes of Kane and Jude Bellingham to be at their very best in this tournament. Will that even be enough to deliver England the World Cup they've been hoping for over 60 years? That's anyone's guess. To most, it feels like France, Spain and Portugal are well ahead of England in the European pecking order, and countries from other areas of the world like Argentina will be better equipped than England in this tournament. To any England fans watching, what do you think? Let me know below. Whatever unfolds over the next few weeks, it's undeniable that this World Cup feels different, no matter the positives or the negatives. Like with all things in life, change can sometimes be a force for good, but it also can be a bit shit sometimes.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
We could be bidding a fond farewell to two of football's greatest to ever do it. There might even be some players that step up this tournament who look ready to fill their still warm boots. Will there be a new World Cup folk hero born during this tournament, on top of New Zealand's Tim Payne? It's certainly an ambitious World Cup, and regardless of any of the negative stories swelling around the tournament, I'm very interested to see how it all plays out, from the comfort of my home and not paying insane ticket prices to do so. Thank you for watching. You may have picked up that this is my first video, so please give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed it. That would be very much appreciated. Cheers.